Welcome to Wiretapped Truths. I'm Jesse Perez with Mr. Wiretapped Truths Leland and Jack Simmons, who I got to see do a little stand up on Friday night, and he was pretty good. He was pretty good.
Congrats, Jack. Hope it went well, man.
Yeah, this is the first time we actually met each other, which is weird because we've been doing this podcast for like 5 months, or it seems that way at least. Yeah.
Good, man. I'm glad it went well, man. Good to see you all this morning.
And today we got a very special guest who was on the wire, and I'm like reaching out to everybody that was on the wire involved and stuff. I found Dona Adrian Gibson, who was the costume supervisor for the 5 seasons of The Wire. And I sent her the tribute show we did, and she sent us the sweetest text message. I don't know if she'll be and like how much she enjoyed it, which meant a lot to us, Dona. Like I was like,
yeah, you guys are really informed. I was like, I mean, even you, I think you even shared some things that I didn't necessarily pick up, and I was like, okay. I seen it. I mean, I'm on my 6th. I'm watching it for the 6th time. So,
oh wow,
that's awesome.
It never gets old. I don't know. It's like, and every time I watch it, there are nuances. But you guys really picked out some gems. So it's cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So, I guess the first thing I have to ask you for as the costume supervisor is, does Ziggy's jacket really cost $2,000?
No.
I'm like, that's not a $2,000 leather jacket.
No, we got it from Wilson's Leather. And it was probably, I don't know, it's probably under 500. I can't remember exactly what, but I guess it kind of maybe with the fur and everything looked like it might have been $2,000. And
could have been.
The budget was very slim on that show. I mean, I think it was maybe $11,000 an episode, and that's low. Wow. Just if you don't know, it's not a lot of money.
And that's for the whole cast, Dona?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And we had, I want to say there were at any given time, maybe over a season, maybe over 100 cast members, including day players. So wow. I'm really going to try to, I was talking to Alonzo yesterday, who was a costume designer. We're really good friends. I mean, we met on the show and we've, he's like a brother from another mother now, but I really want you guys to talk to him. He probably would be open to it. I'm pretty sure.
We would love that. So,
yeah. I'm making a list of people and just see. And I talked to Laura Schwartzman, who is David Simon's assistant.
Wow.
And she might be able to help you guys with some cast members. We'll see.
We interviewed the opening show's actor, Mr. Kamal, and he kind of connected us to Nakia. So that was so that was one of our interview connections to another interview. So it's been such a journey being able and an honor to be able to interview anybody involved. I'm so glad that we were able to reach out to you and have you on this Sunday.
My pleasure to be here. For sure. I mean, it was an incredible experience for me in terms, I guess, because it was just, it's my city, but, the crew, we really were like a family. And I haven't managed to be in another setting that's like that, where, I mean, we're still all friends, what I mean, to this day, like all these years later. And, it was really special.
So what can you tell us the exact I know it's costume supervisor, but can you tell us what the duty is? What does a costume what's a day in a costume supervisor on set?
So I mean, I'm sure you're pretty aware that it's all shot out of order. So we would have 11 days of filming. And you might shoot the last scenes on the first day. It just, you don't know. So it's a matter of managing all of that and making sure that they're in the right costumes at the right time. There's a program that you use that helps you to know what script day you're in and, what change it is for the character and so forth and so on. And setting the rooms. I mean, I have a team of people working with me too, but it's prepping the clothes, whatever that means. I mean, you have a timeline from the script supervisor. So if it's 11 o'clock at night, you're not pressing the shirt. It's like, they've been in the shirt all day, so maybe it's in the bottom of the bag or whatever. And then it's just, I always tell people it's funny because people think that it's such a glamorous job, and there are aspects of it that are very glamorous, but for the most part, I mean, wardrobe is, is very labor intensive, schlepping those clothes all around. You have to, the thing too with us is everything for it to look so real, things are teched. You knock the color out so that it's not all bright in the camera and it looks like it hasn't just come out the package. So it looks like they've worn it for however long, and it might, be an agent dyer, that's managing that to like distress it so it doesn't look so new. Yeah, it's a lot involved in it, but I love it.
So, who, for a little bit of gossip, if you want, who did anybody give you a hard time with the clothes? Like, no, I'm not wearing this.
I mean, maybe not push back quite like that, but I mean, people might want to kind of refine their character a little bit, but that wasn't really up to me. It was more up, to Alonzo, but we did have one character, and I won't name who that is. This is in the first season. He was a day player. And it was so funny because he really like gave Alonzo a hard time, and he ended up getting written off the show.
Wow.
He went to David Simon, and David Simon's like, I don't have anything to do with the costumes. What are you talking to me for? So, but he was an amateur. And then he came back like, I think season 5, and he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. But, people don't recognize what all is involved in it, I guess. So
Me and Jesse and Leland are going to be now debating who that was for the rest of the
week. Well, I'll give you a hint. He actually later appeared in We Own This City. But
okay.
I know who it is.
I think.
I know who it is.
I don't want to say nothing. I know who it is, though.
Yeah, I think I have an idea.
That's
also,
funny.
Actually.
He was young, so he was young in season 1 to give him the benefit of the doubt.
He was young. He really was. And I think he really just didn't know. And, he was like all absorbed in the hype of being with, I guess, all the fellas. And, he just got a little too big for his britches. And they were like, bye.
Yeah, it happens a lot. You get some people that difficult with that. I want to ask you, though, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, where did your passion for costume design come from?
Oh, it's really funny because it really did evolve. I mean, I didn't grow up, and I think to myself, I don't know how I missed this because I grew up watching Sonny and Cher and the Carol Burnett Show. And if you guys don't know, that was Bob Mackie, who was probably like the premier costume designer. And mind you, he was doing characters, and I loved the clothes, but I never thought about who's dressing people on television. But I always loved to sew, and I went to design school for fashion design. And thank God, because I tell you, sewing has really held me down in these last couple of years when, the strikes and everything have really affected the work. I guess you know that. It's coming back a little bit. But anyway, I digress. So I got into theater initially. And again, I say, now, had I realized, I guess, the costume was such a big part of that, I probably would have majored in theater. I didn't, I just thought theater was like, acting or whatever. So I skipped that, but I got in by way of just working in as a dresser, here, and then stitching, of course, on a lot of productions. And my first actual job in film and TV was on Homicide, which, was the show that they shot here for 7 years. And that was like my segue into it. And I was like, okay, I mean, I really liked it. And that was it for me. I mean, that pretty much, you get with a group of people and they kind of tend to hire you again and again. And I heard you guys talking about The Corner, and that was my first crew job. Like, I was on crew. And of course, David Simon wrote that. And just to give you some backstory on that too, David Simon and Ed Burns spent a year down on Fairmont. And that's how they learned, who these people were. And they wrote the story of their lives, and sadly, a lot of them have transitioned, as of course, Donnie, well, he wasn't in it, but Fran, who was the lead, Mother, her whole family, they were all drug addicted to heroin. And D'Angelo, not D'Angelo, what was her son's name? Sorry. He played Brother Muzone's person. I can't even remember what it was.
Lamar.
Yes.
Right. He was on. We did the tribute episode with him.
Right. Exactly. Well, and he passed away too, tragically, of a drug overdose. But anyway, I mean, that was my first, I guess, involvement with all of them. And then it was through that experience that I was, hired onto The Wire, which was great because I did the pilot, which was done by Francine Tanchuk, and then Alonzo came in, for the balance of the show.
Did you ever find yourself like wanting to go back to theater, or were you like wanting to go back to theater, or were you just like set on
a little
television?
bit. I mean, I'm going to work at the theater this week. I'm going to go help them. They're teching Phantom of the Opera here, but I really don't want to dress anymore. I don't mind stitching, building clothes. So that's what I'm going to go help them do in the interim.
Now,
So
I have
when
a
you say
question.
Alonzo, who are we?
Go ahead.
Alonzo Wilson. He was a costume designer. He did from the show. He didn't do the pilot. That's what I said. Francine Tanchuk did that, but he came in after the pilot, and he did every show after that.
Now, I have a question, Donna. Did you know when you first started with The Wire that you'd be on literally every episode, all 5 seasons? Like, how did that establish itself as far as you being responsible for the whole series? Like, how did that?
It's like, you have a camaraderie, because we didn't have everyone from inception to wrap, but Alonzo and I got on very well, and I just got asked back every season, so that was a blessing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sure.
The costume design is always something that I'm so happy to talk to you, because it's one of the most underrated aspects of the show. I remember season 1, we were talking about, there's this scene specifically where D'Angelo is like taking forever to pick out an outfit, and he chooses this really large shirt. And I remember thinking, like, that was so the style back in the early 2000s. Yep. Like, it was so just, it brought me back to like my childhood and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did you approach that, like trying to get it like authentically of that time?
I mean, again, like, that wasn't my responsibility. That was Alonzo's. And I say that because I work in costume. I am a costume designer today, but I don't want to take any credit from him, because pretty much, it was like we had a lot of people who were on the crew, his assistant. We were all from here, so we were able to help him to pretty much cultivate what the style was, because he's from North Carolina. But he really, and not to take anything from him, but like, we certainly supplemented it. But he had a knowing. He crafted a lot of really interesting. I think one of my favorite things that he did was when Michael Williams was, I think it was season 3, when he was in the wheelchair and he came up. He's an old man,
old man.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So
it's one of his pranks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So, but the store just was full of clothes, and we just filled the closet with him, and he just kind of like was pulling this and that or whatever, and figuring out what he was going to put on.
Did they tell you which stores to go, or was that part of your job of like research?
Oh, no. They have nothing to do with that. That's definitely all costumes. We had such a wide variety of places to shop then. It's sad because now so many places are gone. But it was. And season 2, we were right across the street from East Point Mall. So it was weird. It was right at our fingertips.
My favorite person in costume is Andre Royo Bubbles.
And see, again, Alonzo, he cultivated who he would be. A lot of his stuff he thrifted. And what was I going to tell you that it'll come back to me. I just had a thought that just evaporated, but it's all good. Yeah, he crafted his whole look. And here's a little funny story. So when we were doing the pilot, which wasn't him, but they dressed him, all crazy. He was in character, and he was at craft service. And the security guy was like, "Hey man, you can't, you got to go." But he didn't realize that he was like a character. It was so funny.
He just thought he was trying to get some free food or something.
Yeah,
like you in here looking crazy.
Well,
definitely looking crazy. From
what we heard with Maestro, who played Randy in season 4, and a couple of other people, like, you guys actually shot like in the bad neighborhoods.
Like, yeah. I grew up in Northwest Baltimore, and I just learned the East Side. Well, I really learned the East Side when I worked on the corner. I had never really been. I've been over East, but not like that. Literally, we were like pulling up. Those trucks are pulling up at 4:00 in the morning, and disrupting the neighborhood. They were not happy about that, but I'd be handing off my breakfast. And they're like, to somebody that I got from catering, just to kind of like appease them. So.
So
Yeah,
being a
but
Baltimore native, how realistic is The Wire? How true
oh my
is it?
God, it's so realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredibly realistic. And I mean, I think that that is what made it so, I guess, appealing because it really, I mean, it's the writing too, of course,
Right.
which is the basis of everything. But, you say costume is underrated, and I agree because I always say costume makes the character, but it's not
Mhm.
only costume. I mean, it's all, it's all the other elements that, of course, contribute. But I do feel, and I did certainly learn that when a character walks on screen, you pretty much get a sense of who that person is
For
by the way
sure.
that they're dressed,
Totally.
For sure.
Well,
That's the
like,
same thing. It's like it establishes the tone of each character. Like Omar, he's always wearing that like black trench coat. Whenever I think of him, I think of that. You know what I mean? It's always just like it basically like establishes their identity or like how they are.
Yeah, it does. And I think it was the black trench coat first, and then Alonzo moved into an oilcloth coat the next season. And I think it's true, but I heard that originally he was just going to be a day player,
He
and
was
yeah, and then
too
he,
much impact.
yeah, so such an impact. And I was telling Jesse that I had the privilege to have lunch with him. He came to my home maybe 3 months before he transitioned.
Wow.
We remained friends. He had come in town during, it was like COVID, and we were trying to like go to a restaurant. It got really crazy because things were closing really early, and I was like, we'll just catch up later. And he came over, and it was great. We had like 3 hours, and that's my last memory of him. I'm so
Wow.
happy that I had that. He was so. I remember walking into the Gap. I don't know. This is like he's probably on Boardwalk Empire, and there was a picture of him, in the Gap where he'd done an ad for them, and I called him, and I was like, oh my God! But he was always humble. Like he was always so humble. So
And
and
Donna, everybody who we've had on here has had some of the most glowing things to say about Michael Williams off of camera. It's almost like he was this angelic figure that was here on Earth
such
for
a
a different
gentle spirit.
purpose.
Gentle
Like
spirit.
it's amazing to hear you talk about him and just your last memories with him. Like Jason said, we had Chris Clanton on, and he held his last conversation very near and dear to his heart. But he told us like when he was shooting the last season, Michael Williams was doing stuff on purpose just to keep him more days on set, like just to give him a few more hours on set, make him a few little extra dollars. It's like he was fighting all of these demons with himself, but still was so willing to help everybody. The story of him off camera and the story on camera, they're almost neck and neck in terms of just how legendary he was as a person. So it's interesting to hear you speak about him like that. It really is.
Well, I can tell you something far more intimate, and that is that so again, like I said, everything's shot out of order. And so on the day that no, oh, I'm gonna start prior to that. So a character would never know that they were gonna be killed until they read the script. They never told them ahead of time, and that's how they would find out. And so, of course, Michael K found out that he was gonna be shot by like a 10-year-old. And on the day that this was going to transpire, I was in his trailer with him, and he was crying. I think he was.
Dang.
It was like it was the death of his character, and like literally, because I think that in many ways, he embodied Omar. And it was really just so moving because he was so sad, but like, he didn't even realize that this was like his launching pad. Like he would leave this, and then he would just go into much greater things. But it's hard, I guess, to see that, and have that in context on the day. And the harder thing is that after this, you got to go out and shoot some more scenes that are prior
Death
to
scenes.
that. Yeah, exactly. So it's like we're gonna kill you on shooting day 5, but you got to come back and shoot these other scenes, and it's kind of crazy. So
It's like losing part of yourself almost when you like put that
Yeah.
much into a character.
Oh, I think absolutely. But as you know, he went on to portray some incredibly great characters.
Well,
So
I heard that about a few people. Like, I listened to. I don't know if you watched the Breakfast Club interview when they had like 4 of the people up there. They had Anwan.
I got clips of that on YouTube.
Yeah,
Yep.
they said
I still haven't finished it either, Jesse. I know I said I would watch it too.
it's a good interview. Because it's not even an interview; it's just them catching up really on the Wire talk. And they said when Michael B. Jordan found out, like he was like in tears. You know, he was a kid, and they were like,
Yeah. Oh, that was. Let me tell you, boy. I remember. It's crazy because when I watched the show, I can sometimes, well, maybe not remember what I was wearing, but I sure can remember what I was feeling. And it was such a. We shot that on a Friday night, and it was just so heavy. His parents were there, and what is really crazy is they shot it, and then they reshot it on Monday.
Oh wow.
I don't
"Wow,
know why, but it was like it was better or to me on Friday because it was night, and I think it was like an overnight shoot,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just all of the darkness of the night and everything just carried into it. And then if they would like go back and want to shoot it some more on Monday, it was just like it wasn't the
Yeah.
same energy.
that's the
It makes
saddest
sense because the
The
first time
Wire
it's like
history."
more raw, because it's
Yeah.
more real.
And
And then
it was raw because he was beloved, and he was so sweet, he was a kid, 14 or
Yeah.
whatever. And then his parents were really protective because, he's going to get murdered in this scene and,
Yeah.
all of that. But,
Rightfully so. I mean, a lot of people think that's the saddest moment in the show. Is
yeah, yeah. I mean, even watching it, like I said, this for the sixth time, I could still feel all of the energy of, how sad that was. So yeah, it's true.
And
Wow.
they talked about like people finding out the day of. Like they said, Idris was really mad when he died.
Oh, let me tell
Like,
you, it was really crazy. I hope that I get to see Idris again one day, because he was really angry. And I remember going to his trailer and like I think we dressed him really well. So he had like a Hugo Boss suit. And I had a picture, but I don't have it anymore of like literally his pants of his suit were like trapped in the door of his trailer and like his jacket's like over his he was just I don't know, angry, not caring or whatever. So
Yeah.
but little did he know,
yeah,
that he would become such a superstar, you know
I think that's
so
part of it is like when you get killed, it's for a lot of actors, they don't know, if they're going to work again. Because Michael B. Jordan, I think, even said that he was like, he struggled. I mean, he was only a kid at the time, but he's still struggled to find work. It's probably like, oh
okay.
shit, like this is what am I going to do now?
Mhm.
And I mean, look at him now, you all. Like,
I know, right? Oh my
he's
God, I
Yeah.
loved him
he's
in Sinners. He was
Screens
so
and
good.
Sinners. He's been part of billion-dollar movies. Like,
Yeah,
who would
yeah,
have ever thought
absolutely.
from Wallace, that
I
he'd
know,
be who he
right?
is today. It's
I know.
such a wonderful. Him and Idris are probably, their peaks from The Wire are probably some of the most talked about. And Wendell Pierce too, obviously. He's
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
legendary.
Oh,
And I was telling my crew this, Donna. I don't know, before The Wire, I don't know how I missed Wendell Pierce's filmography and discography before The Wire. Like, he had such an extensive acting catalog, like back to the 80s. I was like, wow,
okay.
I did not
I just
know.
remember him in Waiting to Exhale. That's what I remember him from. So
I think I
I
was
can't say
5
that.
when that came out, Donna. Like, like I did not know to the extent of his acting catalog. And I don't know if you're familiar with Power and Raising Kanan, but he's in those shows as a phenomenal character. Like, every time he's
Okay.
on screen, us as the audience, we're like, man, he is clearly leaps and bounds better as an actor than everybody else on this
Mhm.
show. Like, it's
Okay.
phenomenal to watch him.
Okay. I haven't actually seen those. But I love Wendell's voice. I worked with him on Treme, you
Okay.
know, and
I started watching that. I'm only like 2 episodes in. Somebody
yeah,
recommended
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was, I mean, just it's so wonderful to me just to be a part of this whole career because I go a lot of different places. I don't know how I would have actually been led to New Orleans, to learn about that. But I wanted to tell you guys, I don't know whether you realize that in is it season 3, Omar's boyfriend
Dante?
is Will Trent.
Hmm.
Is who?
Will Trent. on ABC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
wow.
like
Oh,
you.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
No,
and you
that's
know, Sonia's working with him because that's how she posted that, and I was like, oh my goodness, who knew? Like he was,
Yeah.
I mean, he
He
was a
was on
kid.
one of the Transformers movies too. I just know
Okay.
he's had a wow.
And
Yeah.
I have seen him in something else too. Like I'm thinking about his face. I know we haven't got to season 3 yet, and we're just introducing him in season 2. But
Ramon
I've
Rodriguez.
seen him in something else too.
Mhm.
Like I'm trying to remember what I feel like from my childhood. Like he was in
Okay.
something. He was in something because I know his face. Like I do know his face, but that's
So,
interesting.
did you find that like working on The Wire, like did that open up a lot of doors for you afterwards? Because I saw, I was looking up your IMDb. It's pretty
I
impressive.
mean, I guess yes and no. I would say probably the biggest door was that I supervised She's Gotta Have It. And Spike Lee was like, well, the costume designer, I knew her, and she was like, call me on a Friday. She's like, you have to be here on Monday. And I said, well, just, Monday, which I managed to do it. But she's like, he doesn't know anything about you. I said, well, just tell him I worked on The Wire. So in that regard, yes, it's I would say it's helpful. But what you guys may not realize is that after we shot the season 5, we lost the incentives here in Baltimore or in Maryland because Carcetti portrayed, oh gosh, I can't even think of the
O'Malley.
became governor, but we lost our
Martin
incentives.
O'Malley.
So I had to leave, and that's how I started traveling for work. So
And we've heard that about the governor or the mayor who Carcetti was portraying, quote unquote. He is not a fan of The Wire. He does not like how he was portrayed or how
he was
people
like, having
him.
extramarital affairs. You probably didn't like that,
Right. And you know what, too, Donna? We're gonna break down We Own This City probably before the end of this year.
Okay.
You were a part of We Own This City as well.
Yeah, I was the costume designer on that. Mm-hmm.
So and I know it's a lot of the same staff, same people behind it. And I mean, I love We Own the City as it's just, if it's only 6 episodes, but like if I know I'm only gonna get 4 hours of sleep, I'll put on episodes 3, 4, and 5 and 6, because I know it stops at episode 6 and the TV will shut off when the episode cuts off.
Okay.
But what's the difference? What do you think the difference was between those 2 shows? And it's kind of a 2-part question because you're a Baltimore native. How bad were the cops around this time? Like, The Wire doesn't really show it in terms of bad cops necessarily, but We Own the City is what it's all about. It touches on the corruptness of the cops and just how they were treating civilians, not necessarily even criminals. Like what was that like in Baltimore? Like,
well, I mean, I was probably traveling during that time, and I was really unaware. So when the story, when I had the opportunity to learn about it, I was really surprised. And I just want to say this in terms of just shooting it, it was over the course of a decade. So literally just, it was crazy to manage the style of clothing over, a period of that time and how we, were able to track that. And one thing, I know that this is not what you're asking me, but I just want to just mention.
No, you're fine. We want to know it all.
So it was really cool because we went to this this guy who refurbishes sneakers, and he had such a collection of tennis shoes that we were able to get, over a decade of sneakers from, children's shoes all the way to, present day. And so I said, oh my goodness, he had laid everything out for us. And I said, he was on 25th and Harford Road. And I said, how did you manage to, get a collection like this? And, where did all these sneakers come from? And he said, like some people, they just don't pick their sneakers up. They just go and get new ones. He said, or they go to jail or they die. And, this is how, I've come to, collect all of these. And I was thrilled because I think that we spent like $13,000 with him. And he said, I'm closing for the day and I'm taking my kids to Disney World. And I was like, I was really excited, to be able to, anytime that we can, help to fortify the community, it's, it's a blessing. So, That was
I
great.
have a question. I don't know if you'll be able to answer it because it's not part of. But so like the funeral home in season 1 that they moved to, like
Mhm.
I looked up the name, right? And it's actually a real funeral home with a different name. Like, why wouldn't they just want their real name advertised on the show?
Well, I mean, it could be a legal thing, you know. I
Right.
mean, it could very well have been that, you know. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, you know, when we were in season 2, we were in Essex, Maryland, and we were almost in Essex, right there at the line, and we were in an old Sam's Club, and it was the best space available. And then, you know, come season 4, I think they like almost tripled the rent. We had to move because
Wow.
I guess they were like, "Oh, you're a TV show, you have money, whatever." I don't know what the logistics of that actually were, but that's when we moved to Columbia. So I think that, you know, I mean, people have different ideas about, I guess,
Yeah, yeah.
television, movies, and you know, some people are all about the money. I don't know if that's what it was, but
Sure.
again, you know, you're dealing with the legality of stuff, so
Mhm.
that might have been
Copyright
why.
issues.
That
Also, they're using it
I
as
don't
a
think it's
drug
still there
front.
actually on McCullough.
Yeah, like Jack said, they were also using it in the show as a drug front. Maybe they didn't
Well,
want
that's true.
their name attached to it,
Right,
by you can
precisely.
shoot here,
Right,
but don't put our
right,
name
right,
into
right,
it.
right.
This is a question we had kind of like for Kamal, just about like maybe The Wire, maybe trying to come together. I know it's years later, and probably there's probably no budget to do it, but like almost like a Wire con. I
No.
saw that you were part of something at the Ivy Bookshop a few years ago, where some of the Wire cast kind of came together. Can you talk to us about that? I thought that was really interesting. Like we don't see more of, I guess I won't call it Wire reunions, but just more so just people coming together and speaking about the impact of it. Can you talk about that for a second?
So the 20th anniversary book came out,
Mm-hmm.
and that was what they were promoting. And
Mm.
so they had like a, you know, a Q&A that you know, I was privileged to participate in. You know, I don't know whether you guys have heard about these legendary cookouts that we had at my house, but that was something that, you know, to this day my children are like, "Oh my God, that was such an amazing thing." Because so season 1, when the 4th of July came, a lot of the cast and crew did not go to their homes. I can't even remember what day it was. Let's say it was a Thursday. So they didn't go home for 4th of July. So Anthony Hemingway, who was then you know, assistant director, and I were good friends, and so we're gonna have a cookout because my house has a really big yard. It's like it sits on like an acre. So we had a little cookout, and it was maybe about 70 people came.
Oh wow.
Nice.
And let me tell you, by season 5, I think it was 300 people.
Oh
Came
shoot.
through.
Oh wow.
It was
Who's doing the
insane.
cooking there?
Yeah, it was. I like to cook. I mean, you know, so it was, yeah, pretty amazing. So I'm sure if you talk to anybody that came, everybody didn't come, but mostly everybody came,
Oh,
you know.
Okay.
And then, you know, like friends and family would be like, "Oh my God," you know, they're like, there are, you know, these actors are here, which are, you know, it's like, "Oh my God, there's so
I
and
can't believe
so."
I'm eating,
right.
barbecue with
Right,
the actors of The
precisely.
Wire. Right. Yeah.
Yep,
You're
yep,
just
yep.
asking Idris Elba to pass the coleslaw, and
Oh my God. Well, he never came, but you
Yeah.
know, Dominic West finally came, I think, season 5.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, yeah.
He seems like such a down to earth person.
He's very down to earth. Yeah,
I've seen some
very much
skits of
so.
him outside of The Wire, and it just seems like he's very homely, very much a people's person
Mhm,
kind of thing.
There's a
mhm.
video of him going around of him rapping, which is pretty
I
funny.
saw that.
Oh
Yeah,
Yeah,
wow.
I
Okay,
saw that. I
that
saw
I
that.
haven't seen.
Yeah,
I have
it's
not
pretty
That
funny.
it's pretty funny. It's pretty cool.
Speaking of Dominic, what was it like? This one, because we're in season 2 now. What was it like getting that outfit for him when he pretends to be like a rich British guy who buys the escort? I always wanted.
Oh my goodness. Well, again, not my job,
Oh, okay.
Alonzo's, you know, because he's a costume designer. Don't want to take anything from him. I mean, you know, he's so funny because he'd be like, I just kind of like shuffle along, when I'm walking or whatever. He'd be laying in the grass maybe instead of sitting in the chair. I'm like, don't you want to sit in the chair? Like, gonna wipe the grass off of you. But I mean, he too has gone on to do some really incredible things, but just lovely person.
Now,
I mean, really, nobody was difficult. I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I would tell you if that was the case, but
You know what, too, Donna? It might just be your spirit. Maybe it's just like, I'm not gonna act up. I'm not gonna act up in front of Miss Donna. I'm gonna be on my best behavior while I'm in front of Miss Donna.
Maybe that could be, but I mean, like I said, it was a pretty much a family environment to me. I mean, people, I think, were happy to be working, and it wasn't an easy show to shoot. We were filming in these oppressed neighborhoods, and we worked some really long hours. I mean, I feel like television has changed in that regard. That maybe you're not shooting 18-hour days, but we're working some long days.
That's
But
what Lito
again,
was telling us.
we were happy to be there.
That's what I always heard, though. It was such a good atmosphere on set. Like everyone did, especially like with David Simon. It seemed like, because the show itself, I mean, there are some really dark moments. So it seemed like even during then it was still like a nice environment to work on.
Yeah, it was. It absolutely was. And I mean, I never felt unsafe. I can say that. I mean, we had security and stuff, but I never felt unsafe.
Yeah.
So.
Now I know like Wire fanatics know this, but like maybe some like Wire fans don't. The Snot Boogie was from the costume department, right?
Yes, one of my very good friends. I met Dewan on the corner. He was a PA in the camera department, but he's like, I really want to be in costumes. So he ended up, coming over to costumes, and he was actually my shopper on We Own This City. But yeah.
If you could put in a word for him, actually, we would love to have him on. And it's so funny because when I explain to people like the show of like how great The Wire is, I'm like, the corpse, Snot Boogie, the corpse in the beginning is known to the Wire fans. Like Wire fans will be like, "You're Snot Boogie, can I take it?"
Oh my God, right? Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's like so crazy for like a show to have that impact of like Snot Boogie being somebody with no name, like no lines, just a body. Like, but he's such a like character that you remember in The Wire. You're like, oh, Snot, right? It's so funny.
So the thing too about Dewan is that I think the story goes something like he was maybe around 10 years old, and in his neighborhood they were shooting Homicide, and Kathy Bates was the director, and I think he kind of wandered onto set and wanted to know what was going on, and it like gave him a little video village, and so he like was on the set of the corner, and he was on the set of and so then I remember how that happened, but I feel like it was something like that. Like they knew who he was.
Oh wow. Now I just wanted to ask, you said Andre Royo like would be, kind of in character. Nowadays they kind of call that method acting, I guess. Was that often the case? Like even before the show started, everyone was kind of already into it, or?
Okay, so say it again.
Sorry, it might be some connectivity issues. So, I just want to say, you said like Andre Royo was often in character like beforehand. I think, they call it like method acting now. Was that kind of like the case for a lot of actors? They would just already be into it, like even before the show started, or?
Hold on. I think we're having some connectivity issues.
Did we lose her?
Sure. Yeah, okay. I'll ask her to come back on.
Okay.
Or do you want to send her another link?
I'm about to send it right now.
Good. I was worried that was my camera for a second.
It's in her email.
she kind of cut off during our last.
Yeah, nope, I got her.
Okay.
No,
I don't know.
we got you.
Hey, I don't know what happened.
We got you.
So,
Well-
all right. So, tell me again what you said. I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I guess there's a
About
little
method
connectivity
acting.
issue. Oh yeah. So I just wanted to know, was that like a common thing during during the show where actors already in character beforehand, or did you find that like you were talking?
I really think that a lot of these characters, were absolutely like identified in who they were. So I mean, Bubbles was always method acting. I felt like Johnny too, his cohort. I mean, they're like running their lines in the van. So I guess so. I mean, it's really interesting. When I watch it, I just feel like everybody was cast so well.
Yeah.
They really were.
Oh,
who
the
they
casting.
were.
You talk about
I love
casting.
Freeman.
We always say, like, what if this person got that role? Because like, I know Poot read for Weebay.
Carver read for Stringer. Could y'all imagine?
Wait a minute, who read for Stringer?
Carver.
Oh my goodness, no, not at all.
Yeah.
Stringer works
Yeah,
partially
that's
because he's a big guy too.
That's crazy. See, I don't know that. I didn't realize that was a thing.
Yeah, we a lot of people. Randy said he wanted the naming part. That one I could actually kind of see, Randy. But they
Wait a minute, Randy was who?
The kids in season 4.
That might be my favorite. Well, it's kind of hard to say because I know people really didn't get into season 2, but I really like season 2 a lot.
I love season 2,
and I learned so much about my city on season 2 because I never was on. I'd never been on the docks or any of that.
We like to speak to it as far as like, is there really a best season? Like, when every episode, every line is so important to the show, is there really a top season? Every theme is different. Every cast is different from season to season.
True.
Like, do you personally think that The Wire is the best show ever, Donna?
I mean, listen, it is certainly, I don't know. I mean, it's a great show. It's the only show I've probably watched this many times. I know the writing was great.
Right.
It was completely underrated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that David got any. I know he didn't win any Emmys. I think he got nominated like once.
Yeah, I think Time recognized it as the best drama ever, which is, I don't necessarily want to say that's greater than an Emmy, but
I think TP Guy gave it the #1 show of all time. And you hear it like referenced in pop culture a lot as like the greatest show ever.
Yeah, I don't know if that's greater than an Emmy because like if you look at like Better Call Saul, they feel like he got cheated this last season for not being nominated, and that show didn't win any Emmys, and people love that show, but Breaking Bad won Emmys. But The Wire not winning any Emmys. Anyway. I don't know. That's pretty tough. It wasn't like considered prime time. It was in a tough time slot when it was released. In terms of what it was going up against, 2001 through 2007. And I'm not sure what beat it out. It could have been Grey's Anatomy, maybe. I don't know. I have to look to see which shows beat it out. I feel like Grey's Anatomy one of those years beat out The Wire when it was nominated. But the fact that,
but that's like on, isn't Grey's Anatomy was like on like regular network, right? I mean,
right.
We were cable,
ABC.
The cable, yeah. So maybe it wasn't Grey's Anatomy. That's interesting. But I think Time recognizing it with that honor as possibly the best drama ever is prestigious in itself. Like, I mean, Time Magazine is that's top tier. That's where they honor and acknowledge the Nobel Peace Prize winners. Like, so it's
I mean, the writing was exceptional. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
So, is there anything you're watching right now, Donna? Like any shows you're into at the moment?
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm rewatching The Wire, but what did I watch that I really liked? I thought that Black Rabbit was interesting because I like when things are fresh. I hate how they do all of these remakes of things. I don't find any interest in that.
Yeah.
And I liked, oh my goodness, the FX show. Oh my God, what was it called? Because
Snowfall?
Yes, thank you. I love that. I thought it was great.
That was
And
good.
that story is deep rooted in truth too.
Well, that's
Like,
based on Rick Ross, the real Rick Ross.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's definitely deep rooted in truth, for
Yeah.
sure. A lot of dramatic stuff, but some of them elements are true stories for sure, and it definitely captures the element of the time. That's another costume, person who does a phenomenal job. Is a
Yeah.
Snowfall, bringing it back to the '80s because it looks so '80s-esque, like for sure. They do a
Yes,
great
and
job.
Alonzo actually did, I think, the first season.
Of Snowfall.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Wow, that is
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then he didn't, after that. So he's actually moved on to producing. So, but yeah, like I said, I'm gonna try to get him to talk to you guys.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Thank you.
One scene that people do talk about the costumes and the coloring and stuff like you mentioned is when Brianna confronts Avon and about D'Angelo's death and stuff. And like you see the YouTube comments and they're like, you notice that she's in red and Idris is like in all black, like the dark and the light. Was stuff like done. I'm guessing stuff like that was done on purpose, right? Like
I'm sure it was because Alonzo put a lot of thought into the costumes. Like I don't know if you guys remember Amsterdam, and it was so like we overdyed everything in gray. So that like everybody in there, it was just so like muted, But
so this is all right. So one of my, as a fan of The Wire, I want to ask you. So what was who was your standout actor in season 1? And I know Leland and Jack are probably tired of me saying this already, but I was just so fascinated that like D'Angelo was the main bad guy in it. If you think about it, because he had 440 dialogue lines, and the second was Idris came in second to like 220. So like D'Angelo's like really the main character if you think about it, but we just get lost in the flashiness of like and for me like his monologues like also fascinating to me. So I think Lawrence Gillard is my favorite actor of season 1. Do you have like a favorite actor from the show?
Gosh, that's so hard to say. I mean, it's so funny because I always knew that he didn't have the backbone like to be not Lawrence, but D'Angelo.
Yeah.
I knew he was soft. You know what I mean? And I felt for him because of course, at the end, that final scene where he like the sorry, I'm not as advanced.
No, you good. We got you covered. What you thinking? We can probably walk you through it.
The guy who was shot and he saw that they had killed him and he was you could tell he was sad.
Gant.
He felt
William
remorse.
Gant.
Yeah, William Gant, exactly. And he was like, I was like, oh wow, is he built for this? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so crazy because all of the characters are so diverse, and I think that because I really did see them, so individually, I don't have a favorite. I really don't. I really like them all.
That's a good political answer.
No, I mean, not even trying to be political. When you think about it, they really are they're built so very differently,
Yeah.
They all work well together too. It's like
everybody did. Yeah, I understand. Everybody did great part. Do you have a favorite season? Well, you said season 4 is your favorite season, right?
I think I like season 4 because the kids, they just really. I mean, I loved the kids. I mean, they were just so. I don't know. They were children.
I think that's the one
like a wholesome
season
that was missing almost.
I think that's the one season that's different from the other 4. Is because the kids are the main actors, and I think the McNulty storyline is kind of muted a little bit in season 4 versus all the other 4 seasons where it's pretty much about McNulty and his actions pretty much in season 4. So and it's also the most critically acclaimed season of The Wire. It's season 4. And it's I think it's a phenomenal season. Some of the most heartbreaking moments are in season 4 too. But whether it's Bubble's struggle, when he was looking rough in some of them seasons, season 4, like you all did a great job with him in season 4 because you had to show him getting beat, like essentially, and how beat down his clothes were after, suffering a few assaults from his bully.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, for Alonzo, probably really fun to dress. But again, like Sandy Kepper, she was his makeup artist. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to try to get Sandy, to connect with you guys as well, because, she really made him, blacked out his teeth and, put all of the pop marks on his face and stuff to, I mean, I know he loves Sandy because, she developed him to who he would be, but, yeah, I don't know. I think that the children, it's like the naivety, but at the same time, they have to like be, they have to try to be adults or, grow up, in such a way. And all of those children, they were just so nice, the little kids,
Yeah.
We've interviewed 2 of the 4 of them, and they've been very, what's the right word? Almost appreciative of us continuing just the Wire name and Wire.
Who did you talk to? Maestro?
We talked to Maestro and Julito, who plays Naaman.
Yep. Yeah. So, but you didn't talk to Jermaine?
No, we haven't managed to get Jermaine on.
Because he always said that they treated him like like an outcast.
Maestro admitted to that. Maestro said they were a little mean to him.
Yeah.
And in a podcast, Donna, on I think it was Maestro's podcast, they kind of Julito like apologized and he said, "Yo, look, I'm sorry, bro. I think we treated you kind of wrong."
Yeah, they did. They treated him. They did.
But that's crazy. So how does did they just fall into character? Like, how does he get like?
I think so.
How does he get casted as Dookie?
Because he was always getting picked on in the show. His character.
That's what I mean. And how does it happen in real life? Did it just fall into character? Like,
I think so. I mean, he was dressed like he didn't have. He was a foster child or whatever he was. Like I just remember Alonzo dressing him really poorly, and of course, Julito had all the great clothes.
Yeah,
and then
showing like a class difference too between them.
Absolutely.
Naaman had more money, and there's even a scene when in season 4 when they all go over to hang out at Naaman's house,
and his mom doesn't let him
in. It was like heartbreaking to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. Yeah, no, that is definitely a heartbreaking. Doogie's story is very sad.
It is.
And you all see
like he smelled.
Yeah, exactly. And you all see when we break down We Own the City. He's in We Own the City too.
Right.
But he's in there for like one episode. I think he's a cop.
police officer. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's tall too. He look he don't look like Dookie no more. He's tall.
Yeah. Very sweet too. So sweet.
I'll tell you my favorite cold open, and you tell me if you agree with me.
Okay.
Snoop buying the drill at the
oh my God. Well, yeah.
Yeah, we had about 4 or 5 jobs last.
Oh my God. Listen. It's so funny because when I first met her, she came, of course, as a background artist. She was just like Michael, I guess, introduced her to the writers, and she was so guarded. Did you guys have you watched Trap Queens?
I was telling them about it, Miss Donna.
I didn't even know. I had no idea. Like that was how. I mean, I know she, wrote the book Grace After Midnight, and in fact, I hear that Ed Burns has written like a 6-part series on it. It just isn't. It hasn't been picked up yet. Yeah.
Wow. Her story, you all. I'm telling you, and I told you when I first watched it. If y'all want to know about Snoop and what was really going on in Baltimore,
that was something, wasn't it?
Go look up that little, because it's her narrating it too.
Yeah.
So many natives from Baltimore. Like that's kind of one thing that's great about it is the show takes place, but so many of the people on set and also behind the scenes, like yourself, are just from Baltimore. It seemed like it was almost like a local production.
I think the difference though, Jack, between Donna and Snoop being on set, I don't think Donna was leaving the set to go sell drugs like Snoop.
Well, no, not at all. I had no idea that was even happening.
I'm telling y'all, bro. If y'all want some insight on who Snoop was,
you gotta watch that. It's really good.
Were you leaving to sell drugs, Donna, or what?
So listen, she really warmed up because initially, she's a background artist. I'm trying to have a conversation with her about like pretty much like what she's gonna do and how she's gonna dress. And she literally had like no words for me.
Mhm.
But as we went on, I think that she became more trusting of the process. And even like when Alonzo had to dress her like a female when she was on the back of the
bike.
Yeah, that's the one time when she's like a female. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. She was,
man. Snoop's story is deep rooted in a lot of pain, a
Yep.
lot of situations. She had to grow up really young. I'm talking like
She
8,
really
9,
did.
10 years old. We're talking active in the streets at 9.
Right. Yeah.
Her story it blew my mind. Don, I'm not
Mine
gonna lie.
too. And it gave me a whole different appreciation for who she is and why she was so guarded, when she came to us. But she's gone on to do other things, which is great for her.
I love that it showed all of her, everything that she went through, everything she had to persevere through, and where she's at now. Even the last time when she got in trouble, and she was like, yo, this time it wasn't me. I didn't do nothing wrong. Like, so it was just to see all of that in that little hour and 5 minutes little documentary. It was a phenomenal watch. I can't.
It really was. It really was.
It was really phenomenal.
And I just kind of stumbled upon that one night. And I was like, oh, let me see what this is.
You know what, Donna, was funny about that? My mom is who put me on The Wire. Okay, years ago. She went down. I live in Georgia, and she went down to the shooting range. It was like, yeah, I want to buy a shotgun because she was watching The Wire. She's like, yeah, I want to buy a shotgun. They were like, ma'am, those are illegal in Georgia. Okay, you can't get those. Okay, and she put me on to the show. Yeah, it's illegal. You can't have a double pump shotgun in Georgia.
Wow.
Like it's the type of gun, something like that. Yeah. But she told me about the Trap Queens with Snoop, and one day I went to pick up my daughter. And my daughter was asleep, and we had some time. We watched it for about an hour. I watched it with my mom, and it was just a phenomenal watch. I mean, it'll blow y'all's minds when y'all watch it, like for sure. Because I had no idea, and I thought I knew about who Snoop was. I didn't know it was 8, 9 years old. I'm out here pretty much feeling for myself.
I didn't know either.
It was crazy. So,
I guess Donna, I appreciate you coming on. I love that that letter made my weekend. I mean, your text message made my weekend. I was like, oh, this is so cool. Donna, we love your personality. I just want to ask 2 questions, and I'll let the guys ask their final questions. So, so number 1 of my 2-part question is, what is your favorite memory of working on the show? And number 2 is, this is a question for Leland, since Leland is a big House of Cards fan. Can you tell us a little bit about when you worked on House of Cards?
I mean,
that was a depressing sigh.
No, because I think that was looking at House of Cards. Because let me just tell you, coming from an environment of The Wire, which, like I said, was so, I mean, literally such a, I don't even know how to describe it other than it was really like a family. To go to House of Cards, and that was a very cold experience to me. I just felt like it just wasn't as inclusive at all, and it was challenging because even initially when they first announced that Netflix was going to bring the show, I think that maybe 2 people from the costume department. I wasn't here. I don't know where I was filming initially. I think I was down in Atlanta, and they maybe hired 2 people from Baltimore. They brought their entire team in from like Los Angeles for costume or wherever, New York. I don't even know where. But then it only got more, I don't know, frigid. It was just really interesting. The lead characters, they weren't as inviting and, as open, which is unfortunate because it makes such a difference when you can really interact with the characters or with the actors. They just,
you think it's because they're movie stars, like, because it's
maybe they just weren't. They just were not as warm. And that, to your point, I think that on The Wire, nobody was a star. They were just people. So their evolution, we kind of were part of that.
You know what though, Jack? I know you said you only seen a few seasons of House of Cards, and Jesse, I don't think you've seen it at all. But House of Cards has no homely, open energy moments like The Wire. There's not even an opportunity for any comedic moments or
Because
happy
everyone's
moments.
awful in that show, right? That's the
Yeah,
whole thing.
it's not even a window or opportunity for
Right.
people to even be happy or funny, or even it's none of that in the show.
That's bad writing, because Succession, all the characters are also just horrible people, but the show has so many funny moments that you even find yourself liking some of the characters, even though they're just pure evil. So I think it's just like shitty writing.
To write a show like House of Cards, and like I said, if y'all ever get a chance to watch it and finish it, it's after 4 seasons, it starts to get a little quirky. But even when it was good, it's no comedy moments. It's no happy moments in House of Cards. Like it's not, that doesn't exist in the world, in that show. So, that in itself is different than The Wire. I don't think it's an episode of The Wire that doesn't have a decent laugh out loud comedic moment. I think every episode has at least one of them in The Wire. So like that energy is not even written into the script of House of Cards. Like,
I bet it was a larger budget though, right? House of Cards and The Wire. Like,
what is it?
I bet you there was a larger budget for House of Cards.
Oh yeah, I think that the announcement that Netflix was cut, I think it was like $200 million. They were saying that they were gonna, whatever. And so again, like even like the costume department, it wasn't cohesive. I mean, there was a lot of changes within. I think I worked on that season 2 and 4. And I went in as a costumer. Well, I think I worked as the key on season 2, which is like, like dressing background, and then season 4 I worked as a costumer. But it was just
different setting, different energies.
Different. I think because all of that feeds into the final product, so yeah. And I mean, as far as I had so many incredible moments, I know that seems so cliche, but on The Wire, I just had so many I had a lot of great moments. I mean, listen, Sonia Stone, when she got married, Anthony and I were going to cook, for her wedding. And it was like the blackout of New York, and he had to like go home or something. And it ended up just being me. But these are the kind of relationships that were formed. I mean, I'm friends with Sonia to this day. So, I mean, I don't know. I can't pick just one, unfortunately.
That makes sense. I was wondering, you were talking about like, looking at certain stores for clothes. Has the whole process of that like kind of changed with, there's so much as like online shopping? Is it a lot easier now with like just the abundance of technology versus like when you first started off?
I mean, yes and no. I think that, personally as a costume designer, I really like to shop a lot of it myself. And, when you can see it and it's tangible, and you can touch it. I like that process, and
yes,
online offers, even like shopping, like sites like Poshmark and stuff where you can find, things that you can't find in a store. It's like a gift and a curse. I mean, I hate to see like retail diminish as it has. And, we only have 2 or 3 department stores to this day, which is kind of scary. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. But JCPenney, I hope they never go away, because that's like a Sears. It's kind of like a working class place. And then Macy's has such a variety, and then Nordstrom is, a little
high class.
I heard Macy's going to like losing. Did I hear that they're
closing stores? Yeah, they've closed.
I mean, a lot of retailers are in 2025. I mean, it's a thing. I know I saw where my mom lives. They're closing Hooters. I was like, what?
Oh Lord, that's crazy.
It's so a lot of retailers, restaurants, bigger retailers, is that inflation, man. It's real. It's definitely real.
It's interesting. It's going to change the dynamic for sure.
Jesse, Jack, did you all have anything before I ask my final question with Miss Donna?
Well, I had one more question, but I just wanted to add on to what you were just saying. I can imagine it's a lot better, like you said, in person, because you get to see it with your own eyes and feel it. It's probably gives you more of an instinct.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, yeah, look, that looks like so-and-so. It just really, I love to shop. So,
yeah, definitely. The other thing Okay, so maybe this is also my ADHD, but I've also been enamored by this painting in the background. What are we looking at?
Oh, this one?
Yes.
Let me turn this light out. You might be able to see a little better. Sorry.
I'm just like fascinated by it.
You see it?
Oh, okay. A little bit. Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
What's the story there? What?
I mean, listen, I bought that in I don't even know what to call it. I had a friend who did a lot of reupholstering, and I went to his shop one day, and he had some paintings, and I was like, oh, this is really nice. And he was willing I was working on the wires, so I had a little bit of money. I was able to get that from him. I got that and this other one, which is, it's really crazy. I never planned it this way. And all my paintings are not nudes of women, but a lot of them are. I mean, even like this one back here, when I did Justified, it was, you can't really see it. I'm sorry, but it's kind of like an abstract. But
you can see it a little bit. You can see it a little bit. You can see her figure a little bit, like she's laying back.
Great color work too.
It looks like.
Yeah, it is, right? So, and that's certainly an advantage of working on sets, because a lot of times you can buy, at the end of they actually gave that to me, but you can get a lot of. I have the table from at the end of the Wire, the big old sale for the whole city to come to, and we had first pick, and I have the table that was in her apartment, like is in my living room, little
wow.
and the mirror too. Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting.
Hold on. I actually got another question.
Yeah, please. Yes.
Not to take up too much of your time, but so I think you were breaking up. I thought it was just my line, but it seemed like you were breaking up at the time. If you could tell us the story of Dewan again. I think.
Yeah. So he actually met David Simon. They were shooting Homicide in his neighborhood, and Kathy Bates was the director at the time, and he kind of wandered on the set, and they gave him a seat in Video Village, and let him watch from there. And that's when he became friends with David Simon. I think he was like 10. And then, fast forward to The Corner, and he was a PA in the camera department, but he ended up coming over into costumes, and that's how we became friends. And, subsequently, then, he came onto The Wire, of course. And then he was my shopper on We Own This City. I mean, we're friends to this day. So
that's so cool. And David just walked in there to the costume department and said, "Hey, I need a body for the opening scene."
I mean, I guess he kind of redirected him to us. I mean, I can't remember exactly how it happened, but what do you mean, for when he was Snot Boogie?
Yeah.
I guess that, I don't know. I have to ask Dewan how that happened, but yeah, I guess he got just because he, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much, Donna. You've been a phenomenal interview.
I hope I lent something to your.
No, it has been. We appreciate your time on this here Sunday morning. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
You really did make our week this week with the message you sent to Jesse about just knowing that you actually watched it and tuned in, and
I was like, wow, you guys are really into this. This is great.
No, that means a whole lot for us, and that just lets us know we're going in the right direction. So
you really are, for sure. I'm gonna do everything I can to get you more cast and crew members.
Yes, thank you. And if you have anything that you need our help with as far as promoting, anything you're working on, or if you have somewhere where if other people want to hire you for jobs, how they can reach you, or send it to Jesse, and Jesse will send it to our group, and I'll put it out there to the public, for anybody that's looking for help with their costumes and stuff like that. Whatever it is, however we can help you. We put all of the cast members' links in our videos. So moving forward. So if you look at our video description, you'll see all of our past interviews, everything that they do. We put them in all of our long form videos moving forward. So anyway, we can help you as well. We'd be glad to. Just send that information to Jesse. And
well, that said, I'm gonna tell you this little quip. So I just finished. I did an independent film. Here's the thing. It has been really slow, so, but I've had the opportunity. I just worked on a show in actually Champaign, Illinois, which is 2 hours south of Chicago, called Moses the Black. And it was I was so excited. I was so sad it was over because it was only 8 weeks. I prepped here for 2 weeks and I went, down to Champaign and we shot it in 17 days. And what it was about is, I had no idea who Moses the Black was. And Moses the Black actually was a saint. Um, and initially in 400 AD, he was a marauder. He was raping, stealing, killing. And he was in the desert and a monk stumbled upon him and took him back to the monastery. And it was through that experience that he changed his ways and he became a monk for like the last, I think, 20-25 years of his life. And so that was a juxtaposition to 2025 where we had two modern day gangs, which were the Four Corner Hustlers and the Gangster Disciples, who were, rival gangs essentially. And the leader of the Four Corner Hustlers was played by Omar Epps. And he, was released from jail, and he has a transition pretty much like Moses the Black does. And he decides that he wants to change his ways and, not be, this leader of this gang anymore. And it was Wiz Khalifa was in it, and Skilla Baby and Quavo. Sorry, it was great. It was an incredible experience because I got to interact with like the actual gang members who are probably now my friends for life. It was an amazing experience. They had a great time. Everybody had a really good time.
You tied in, Miss Donna.
Listen, it was so wonderful. And the director was Yelena Popovich, and she was Greek, and she, I guess, co-wrote it with some of the actual gang members, and it was great. It was amazing.
When does that come out?
2026, I think.
2026. Okay. Yeah. Oh wow, that's awesome. Yes, like I said, please, we've tend to stay in contact with everybody we've done interviews with. So
okay, awesome.
Jesse has your information. Please feel free to give him that information. We are glad. We appreciate your time so much, Ms. Donna.
Yeah, and when you guys do We Own the City, I'm willing to tap in.
Okay.
Because I love that too. It was a great experience. Yeah.
Thank you.
There's so many people involved with when you watch the ending credits, there's hundreds of people involved with the production. So it's so great to talk to people from all the different departments because it's everything that has to come together. I always thought that's like what makes television.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to tell you, that is what drew me into, when I went onto my first set and, I saw a call sheet and on the back, all the people, I was smitten. I was like, I just have to be a part of this because, like you said, all of these people come together to make this thing happen. You think about like The Wire shot in 11 days for 1 hour. You get 1 hour of television out of, some days are 18 hours. This is crazy to think, or you're shooting 10 or 11 pages, in a day, and just all that is involved. People really don't recognize all of the labor and effort that goes into, making a show. It's a lot. It really is. It's it's the sum of all the parts, which is amazing. So, one last thing is, I don't know if you guys know that the actual guy Herschel, he died, I think, on Friday. He was
the cop.
Yeah.
Oh, he was trying to get released too. I thought he was lying. He was trying to get released from jail, y'all. This is We Own the City.
Yeah.
He's one of the most notorious cops in Baltimore. Like,
it was just an awful guy.
Yeah, he was a menace. And he was trying to get released from prison. He was like, "Look, y'all, I'm fucked up. I'm sick. I need to get released. I need y'all to release me." And I guess they were like, "Yeah, nah, you fine. You gonna stay in there." He ended up dying. What's crazy, Miss Donna? Just yesterday, I looked up We Own This City. I just wanted to see if there's anything new on YouTube, any new videos or anything like that. And I was like, okay, nothing new, no new news. That is so crazy that you tell me that. Wow, I cannot believe he died. Wow. He wasn't lying there, huh? Wow.
No.
He was a terrible person, y'all. Don't feel sad.
Like, I know.
Yeah, he was a terrible person. Like, but wow, that's interesting. And Miss Donna, if you wouldn't mind, we ask all of our interviewees just to say, please like, share, subscribe to Wiretapped Truths. Can you say
Yeah.
that for us, please?
Yes. Please like, share, and subscribe to Wiretapped Truths.
That's it. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank
You
you
bet.
so much. We appreciate your time. We will be in contact with you.
Yep.
Please send
Same.
Jesse that information about
Yep.
the stuff you
Yep.
want to put in
Yep.
our future videos,
For
anything
sure.
that's pertaining to you, hiring you, any projects. Feel
Yeah, I'm
free to send
down.
that information. Thank you.
1,000% for sure. Thank you guys.
Thank
It's
you, Ms.
been
Donna.
great.
You have a
It's
good
been
week
great.
and a good Sunday,
Yeah.
and we appreciate
Same
your
to you.
time.
And I'll
Thank
be
you.
in touch for sure.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a good
This has
one.
been
All right.
Wiretapped Truths. We are signing off. Please like, share, subscribe. We appreciate all the comments, all the love, all the new fans, all the future fans. Thank you all so much.
Yes. All right. Peace.